Шановні колеги, за київським часом 10:00. Ми знаходимося в залі засідань Вченої ради Західноукраїнського національного університету. Ми знаходимося у безпечному приміщенні, тому можемо продовжувати працювати. Згідно з постановою Кабінету міністрів України від 12 січня 2022 року номер 44 та затвердженого нею порядку присудження ступеня доктора філософії та скасування рішення разової спеціалізованої вченої ради закладу вищої освіти наукової установи про присудження ступеня доктора філософії, наказом ректора Західноукраїнського національного університету за номером 486 від 26 червня 2024 року на підставі рішення вченої ради Західноукраїнського національного університету протокол номер 11 від 26 червня 2024 року створено спеціалізовану вчену раду ДФ 58082059 Західноукраїнського національного університету з правом прийняття до розгляду та проведення разового захисту дисертації Вей Ліньхая на здобуття ступеня доктора філософії за спеціальністю 292 міжнародні економічні відносини в галузі знань 29 міжнародні відносини. Згідно з порядком присудження ступеня доктора філософії та скасування рішення разової спеціалізованої вченої ради закладу вищої освіти наукової установи про присудження ступеня доктора філософії пункт 27, захист дисертації повинен мати характер відкритої наукової дискусії, в якій зобов'язані взяти участь здобувач, голова та усі члени ради. Під час атестації здобувача члени разової ради повинні оцінити науковий рівень його дисертації та наукових публікацій з урахуванням дотримання ним академічної доброчесності. Перевірка на доброчесність дисертації Вей Ліньхая виконана із використанням програми UniCheck. Текст дисертації здобувача за результатами перевірки на наявність академічного плагіату, фабрикування чи фальсифікування не містить запозичень без належного посилання на джерело, що відповідає критерію дотримання здобувачів принципів академічної доброчесності. В разі надходження до закладу звернень інших осіб з оцінкою дисертації разова рада озвучує їх під час публічного захисту дисертації та з врахуванням результатів їх розгляду приймає відповідне рішення. Такі звернення беруться до розгляду в разі їх надходження не пізніше, ніж за 3 робочі дні до захисту дисертації. Хочу повідомити, звернень від інших осіб у встановлені терміни не поступало. Заклад забезпечує трансляцію захисту дисертації в режимі реального часу на офіційному вебсайті ЗУНу, а також відеозапис трансляції захисту дисертації. Після прийняття разовою радою рішення про присудження ступеня доктора філософії, заклад протягом 3 робочих днів оприлюднює рішення разової ради про присудження ступеня доктора філософії та відеозапис трансляції захисту дисертації на офіційному вебсайті ЗУНу з можливістю вільного перегляду. Шановні колеги, заслухайте інформацію про здобувача. Згідно з поданими документами, Вей Ліньхай народився 25 квітня 1982 року, є громадянином Китайської Народної Республіки. Після закінчення в 2014 році Китайського Народного університету отримав диплом магістра за спеціальністю розповсюдження агротехніки. У 2020 році вступив до аспірантури Західноукраїнського національного університету за спеціальністю 292 міжнародні економічні відносини. Успішно виконав освітню наукову програму та після завершення навчання за акредитованою освітньо-науковою програмою, термін навчання якої триває до 1 листопада 2020 року по 31 жовтня 2024 року, здобувач отримав академічну довідку номер 68 та висновок наукового керівника, доктора економічних наук, професора, завідувача кафедри міжнародних економічних відносин Західноукраїнського національного університету Зварича Романа Євгеновича, які представлено у атестаційній справі. Вей Ліньхай звернувся до структурного підрозділу із письмовою заявою щодо отримання висновку про наукову новизну, теоретичне та практичне значення результатів дисертації. Успішно пройшов публічну презентацію наукових результатів дисертації та її обговорення на фаховому засіданні кафедри міжнародних економічних відносин ЗУНу 18 червня 2024 року. Протокол номер 1. Результати обговорення та проведення презентації відображені у висновку про наукову новизну, теоретичне та практичне значення результатів дисертації з пропозицією щодо кандидатур, складу разової спеціалізованої вченої ради і захисту дисертаційної роботи для здобуття ступеня доктора філософії. Здобувач Вей Ліньхая звернувся до вченої ради ЗУНу із письмовою заявою щодо утворення разової ради. За результатами розгляду заяви прийнято рішення вченою радою протокол номер 11 від 26 червня 2024 року та на його підставі видано наказ номер 486 від 26.06.24 року про утворення разової спеціалізованої вченої ради для присудження ступеня доктора філософії у складі 5 осіб. Голови разової ради, 2 рецензентів та 2 опонентів. 26 червня 2024 року оприлюднено електронну копію дисертації у форматі PDF з текстовим шаром з накладеним електронним підписом здобувача та інформацією про склад разової ради, посилання на веб-сайт, де здійснюватиметься трансляція захисту дисертації. Подано друкований примірник дисертації, підписаний здобувачем, до бібліотеки закладу, електронний примірник до Державної наукової установи УкрНТІ, а також до локального репозитарію закладу. Інформацію про утворення разової спеціалізованої ради подано до інформаційної системи НАЗЯВу 28 червня 2024 року. Усі документи, які представлені до спеціалізованої вченої ради, оформлені відповідно до вимог чинного законодавства. Рецензії рецензентів та відгуки опонентів були надані вчасно та розміщені в електронному вигляді на офіційному веб-сайті університету 9 серпня 2024 року. Внесено повідомлення до інформаційної системи НАЗЯВО про дату, час і місце проведення публічного захисту дисертації Вей Ліньхая у визначений положенням термін. Згідно пунктів 13, 14, 17, 22 Постанови Кабінету міністрів України від 12 січня 2022 року номер 44 про затвердження порядку присудження ступеня доктора філософії та скасування рішення разової спеціалізованої вченої ради закладу вищої освіти наукової установи про присудження ступеня доктора філософії до спеціалізованої вченої ради надійшли усі необхідні документи і матеріали. Шановні колеги, дозвольте представити членів нашої спеціалізованої вченої ради, доктор ДФ 58082 059. Рецензенти. Ліщинський Ігор Орестович, доктор економічних наук, професор, професор кафедри міжнародної економіки Західноукраїнського національного університету. Вірковська Анастасія Андріївна, кандидат економічних наук, доцент кафедри економіки та економічної теорії Західноукраїнського національного університету. Опоненти. Якубовський Сергій Олексійович, доктор економічних наук, професор, завідувач кафедри світового господарства і міжнародних економічних відносин Одеського національного університету імені Мечникова. Яценко Ольга Миколаївна, доктор економічних наук, професор, професор кафедри міжнародної торгівлі і маркетингу Київського національного економічного університету імені Вадима Гетьмана. І я, голова ради, Сохацька Олена Миколаївна, доктор економічних наук, професор, професор кафедри міжнародних економічних відносин Західноукраїнського національного університету. Прошу членів ради підтвердити свою присутність у реєстраційній карті присутності. Офіційно присутні тут. Рецензент Ліщинський Ігор Орестович, рецензентка Вірковська Анастасія Андріївна, опонент Якубовський Сергій Олексійович, опонентка Яценко Ольга Миколаївна та я, голова ради Сохацька Олена Миколаївна. Прошу колег заповнити реєстраційну карту. Підтверджуємо свою присутність особистими підписами. Дякую. За реєстраційною карткою є 5 членів спеціалізованої ради, присутні на засіданні. З них докторів наук зі спеціальності 4. Отже, засідання вченої ради правочинне. Є пропозиція розпочати засідання. Чи є інші пропозиції? Немає. Дякую. Всі члени згідні розпочати засідання. На порядку денному захист дисертації Вей Ліньхая на тему «Екологічна сталість міжнародної торгівлі та енергії», поданої на здобуття ступеня доктора філософії за спеціальністю 292, міжнародні економічні відносини, галузь знань 29, міжнародні відносини. Чи є інші пропозиції щодо порядку денного? Немає. Оскільки інших пропозицій немає, пропоную проголосувати за затверджене порядку денного підняття руки. Хто за? Проти? Утримались? Одноголосно. Згідно з порядком присудження доктора філософії та скасування рішення разової спеціалізованої вченої ради закладу вищої освіти наукової установи про присудження ступеня доктора філософії, засідання ради може проводитись державною або англійською мовою. Здобувач звернувся до вченої ради ЗУНу з проханням провести захист англійською мовою. Вчена рада погодила. Чи є заперечення у членів ради? Немає. Здобувач, ви підтверджуєте, щоб захист відбувався англійською мовою? Так. Дякую. Отже, мова засідання англійська. Dear colleagues, according to the agenda, I give the floor to the applicant for presentation in main provisions of the dissertation. There is a proposal to set a time limit for the applicant's presentation of 15 minutes. Do you have any objection? No? Please, Vei Línhaya, you have the floor.
Dear members of the specialized academic councils, I would like to present the findings of my research. The connection between trade, the environmental and sustainability is crucial of the development of regions, countries, and the growth economy. Studies have pinpointed the key drivers behind the shifts in environmental sustainability within China international trade. Furthermore, the analysis has shed light on the impact of and the significance of the continued growth in trade on China's environmental sustainability. By examining the data on the side and the position of China's international trade, researchers have been able to identify the changes that influence the link between international trade and environmental sustainability. This problem actualizing the research of environmental sustainability of PRC, international trade, and requires the development of environmentally sustainable trade strategy. The purpose of the dissertation is the scientific substantiation of the theoretical concepts of the environmental sustainability of international trade in the context of the development of the applied model for the implementation of the environmentally sustainability trade strategy for China. The actives help to reach the scientific narrative of the research results, which consist in establishing the theoretical foundations of international trade and the formation of the environmental sustainability, plus special in the context of the development of the pride model for the implementation of the environmentally sustainable trade strategy for China. It includes the terminology like the essential characteristics of the environmental international trade, aspects of the decoupling, classifications of international trade, fields by development, methodological approaches to environment international trade, and adaptation the competitive advantage model to steer environmental development. The structure of China's international trade has experienced significant transformations. This trend involves specialization in district production agents, source, motto, nations, and has grown considerable attention from international economics. It includes the concept of environmental sustainability in the system of international economic relations by analysis of the economic system as closed the linear system. Justification, the materials balance model of economic open circular subsystem, and the developmental types of sustainability. Sustainability has emerged as promote global priority, promoting government, international organizations, and businesses to prioritize the equilibrium of environment, social, and economic factors. It has become evident that attaining a sustainable economy requires a decline in growth, social consumption, guarantees that economic growth in harmonize with environmental preservation. It is improved development properties and characteristics of decoupling and the impact of natural resources, utilization and consumptions on international trade by classification of natural resources, ways of utilization and the consumption of natural resources, contribution of international trade to reducing exam mobility. Some studies suggest that the self-utilization and the deletion of natural resources in sending nations can be attributed to international trade. Developing countries indirectly drive the demand of natural resources in developing nations by exploiting products that require a substantial amount of resources. This contributes to the development of natural resources and exacerbates environmental challenges faced by these developing nations. It is further development analysis of trends in international trade development and the reshaping impact of fragmentation on economic invasions, correlation analysis between trade openness and conflict probability. In addition, economics have substantially benefited from trade driver growth, leading to a narrowing of income gaps with their peer nations. Chile has contributed to the exacerbation of inequality in certain development nations by increasing the demand for scale labor and shared economic activities to urban concerns. It is included in variation of the state and the law of natural resources in international trade by proaction of China's total primary manager production, total energy consumption, total mining industry production, total agricultural output value, total resources, variability in total share of import of export. In this context, we often end in examination of the importance and the role of natural resources in international trade. Embracing green energy, the technologies and prioritizing innovation in development strategies can bottle nations in energy efficiency. China has established comprehensive strategies to implement the low gas emissions trading system worldwide. The primary aim of this market is to regulate and reduce greenhouse gas emissions, promoting environmentally friendly, low carbon development. It is for the first time developing the model of environmentally sustainable trade strategy for China, which is based on environmental, political, social impact factors in the concept of environmental insurance on trade, sustainable development and social conservation, resource depletion and trade policy, opportunities and challenges for natural resources in international trade. Suggestions for China economy, environmentally restructuring, ways for China international cooperation, ways for integration of China's business, open relation and instructing into Chinese upstream research and development. China's manufacturing sectors focused by vectors to promote technology, innovation and policy to create and increase. Thank you for your attention.
What questions do you have for the applicant? According to the procedure, all those present at the meeting have the right to ask questions to the applicant.
No, may I?
Yes, please, Professor Sergei Yakubovsky.
Thank you. Dear colleagues, dear applicant, a very interesting presentation, but I still have some question. First question. You research correlation between trade openness and conflict probability. Can the development of international trade minimize the risk of military conflicts? Very important question for Ukraine, unfortunately now.
Thank you, Professor Yakubovsky, for the question. Trade with a strong multilateral system plays crucial role in ensuring economic, creating and reducing corporate rates, encourage trade, third practice or to mediate and resolve tensions, and can decrease the likelihood of conflict even at bilateral level. Trade can decrease the likelihood of conflict by increasing the costs associated within. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Very interesting answer. So, and another question. What do you propose for strengthening environmental protection and ecological progress of state?
Thank you, Professor Jakubowski, for your question. We recommend enhance environmental protection and ensure the sustainability of nature resources and the ecological environment. We also structure laws of environmental protection, enhancing monitoring and promoting ecological development for sustainable progress. Such measures were selected and harmonious increasing of economic growth and ecological environmental protection. Thank you.
Are you satisfied with the answer to your question?
Yes, thank you for these answers. I am fully satisfied with answers.
Please, Professor Olga Yatsen.
Thank you. Wei Línьhaya, I have two questions too. First, is trade between nations abundant in the resource and those lacking in resources mutually advantageous from the point of sustainable resource management?
Thank you, Professor Yasenko, for your question. We think like both parties can prevent resource depletion and ecological harm by prioritize sustainable resource management and developmental protection. Trade liberation, correct prioritization and cooperation with source-rich countries focusing on extraction and production, where research poor countries concentrate on processing and manufacturing, enhancing productivity and international competitiveness. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm satisfied with the answer. And other, please. What measure can be implemented by China government to support and empower its multinational cooperation in effectively addressing environmental sustainability while aligning with China's export sector's priorities within a sustainable trade framework?
Thank you, Professor Yasenko, for your question. Policies can encourage compliance with startups to comply for government support, such as tax benefits and access to investment funds, establishing and instruct for international investment could help the Chinese government promote sustainability, improving training for managers and incorporating sustainability training for deployment postings could also be beneficial, effective Chinese foreign assistance for international investment should align with host countries' sustainable development priorities. Thank you.
Are you satisfied with the answer to your questions?
Yes, I'm satisfied with this response.
Please, Professor Ігор-Ліщинський.
Dear Wei Lіньхая, I have two questions for you in the aspect of your presentation. My first question is following. You present very good the impact of technology improvement on a reduction of emission. But what is the impact of trade on reducing of emission? Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Lisinski, for your question. The trade impact emissions those three different factors. The sale effect cancel back in economic growth, the composition effect led changes, specialization portals, and the technique effect led in Congress foremost to adopt more efficient production technologies. Advanced economies has seen a slight rise in total carbon emissions, while emerging economies has witnessed more significant increase primarily due to the scale effect, but have also manufactured from technology advancements. Thank you.
Are you satisfied?
Yes, completely. Thank you. And also I have the second question. Could you please specify how government of China regulate and diminish greenhouse gas emission, fostering environmentally friendly low carbon development?
Thank you, Professor Lisinski, for your question. The private sector is using carbon pricing to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and minimize climate-related financial risks. China is implementing the world's largest emissions trading system, covering over 1,700 companies and 3 billion tons of greenhouse gas emissions. The national emissions trading system has a group for China's state council, which already efficient 7 provinces and cities in 2013. Thank you.
Are you satisfied?
Yes, completely. Thank you.
Please, Associate Professor Anastasia Verkovska.
I also have a questions for you. The first one, what are the key qualifications of sustainability have you defined based on your research results? Thank you.
Thank you, Associate Professor Verkovska, for the question. The prevailing consensus among Carlos is let natural capital, manufacturer capital, human capital, and social capital are the key classifications that influence sustainable development in human society. With sustainability, that manufacturing capital can serve as a substitute for natural capital, while strong sustainability in fair size natural capitals really possible in importance in production and consumption. Thank you.
Do you
Thank
satisfied?
you. Yes, I'm satisfied. Also, I have the second one. You've researched decoupling and impact of natural resources utilization and consumption on international trade. So what is the role of decoupling in environmental sustainability? Thank you.
Thank you, Associate Professor Wei Lіньхая for the question. Decoupling involves using few resources per unit of economic output to minimize environmental impact. It requires changes in government policies, corporate conduct, and public consumption habits. This process is known as demineralization in focuses on seeing few mere material energy, water, and land resources to reach the same economic output. Thank you.
Are you satisfied with the answer to your questions?
Yes, I'm fully satisfied. Thank you.
Yes, I also have two questions for the applicant. First question, what's challenges of utilization of composition of natural resources actually the sustainable approach of the global south?
Okay. Thank you, Professor Suhazgan, for the question. One major challenges is over-exploitation of non-renewable resources like oil, natural gas, and coal. Water sectors due to excessive groundwater extraction and pollution is also a significant issue. Additionally, excessive land exploitation and industrial pollution has worsened land and air pollution. Thus, sustainable priorities product resource use, environmental protection, friendly practice, circular economy principles, and improving resource management. Thank you.
I'm satisfied. And second question, what's dimension advice of influence of environmental problem of international trade?
Thank you, Professor Suhazgan, for the question. Sentient natures may establish strict environmental criteria for imported goods to protect domestic markets and the environment. May nature prioritize purchasing environmentally friendly products, leading to the growth of green trade. Some nations possess environmental taxes on imports and offer subsidies for friendly domestic goods. They also include environmental protection provisions in trade agreement to promote sustainable development. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm satisfied with the answer to my questions. Do the member of the one-time Specialized Academic Council have any other question for the applicant? No? Thank you for your questions. If you have no questions, let's move on the next part of our defense the reviews of the review. The floor is now given to real professor of International Economic Department of West Ukrainian National University, Doctor of Economic Science, Professor Igor Lishchinsky. Please.
Thank you. Dear colleagues, first of all, I would like to admit that the full version of my review is available on the official website of West Ukrainian National University. So if you allow me, I will present only the key moments of my review. So the first aspect is the relevance of qualification work. We should all admit that China became the industrial and trade leader in the global world, but this progress during last decades was accompanied but not so good phenomena which we observe concerning the damage to the ecology, concerning the greenhouse emission, general pollution, and so on and so forth. That is why the government of China tried to follow the recent trends in political regulations which are observed in Western world. So they adapt their national policy, industrial policy, trade policy in order to preserve the security of environmental security for the next generation. And that is why this PhD research is marked by higher relevance, which is also connected with this research was carried out within the framework of a research topic of West Ukrainian National University. We should mark one fundamental state budget funding research, one Erasmus Plus Jean Monnet international module, and also 3 business funding research. So these aspects also highlight that this PhD research is rather relevant. Concerning the validity and the reliability of scientific statements, we should mark the scientific novelty. I will tell more detail about this a little bit later. The research has well-defined purpose. It has put and it solves the outline tasks. During this research, the Wei Línьhaya use a lot of special research methods which corresponds to these tasks and which try to solve these tasks. I also would like to highlight that the general research is well structured. The first chapter is devoted to theoretical and methodological basis of environmental sustainability of international trade, where the main concept theories were presented related to these issues. The second chapter has more empirical nature, so it investigates the environmental sustainability of international trade, both global and at the global level and also at the national level. And the author managed to use a lot of empirical methods during this research. And the third chapter has more political, more proposal nature. It researches the prospects of development of environmental sustainability of international trade. So this structure is helps researchers to present the main results, and it is adapted to the demands which are available in our university for PhD research. Concerning scientific novelty of obtained results, first of all, we should highlight the model of environmental sustainability and environmental sustainability of trade strategy for China. And this model is based on environmental, political, and social factors which influence trade, and also the conditions for resource conservation, directions of resource diplomacy, and trade policy. Also, rather important and rather new concept of environmental sustainability in the system of international economic relations, which was improved by analysis of closed and linear economic system, as well as sustaining the advantages of material balance model of an economically open circular subsystem, and the development of types of sustainability in the context of interchangeability of natural and industrial capital. Also, I would like to highlight that terminology is well clarified, particularly the main characteristics of such concept as environmental international trade, as decoupling, classification of international trade theories, the development of methodological approaches was presented also. Also, the evaluation of the state and role of natural resources in international trade has been improved, and it includes the following indicators, such as China's primary energy production and consumption, mining production, agricultural production, and the availability of resources in the total share of imports and exports. Also, the main properties and characteristics of decoupling, the results of the impact on international trade from the use and consumption of natural resources, through their update classification, as well as the ways of using and consuming natural resources, and the justification of the contribution of international trade to the reduction of extreme poverty were developed. And also, among the advantages of this research, we could highlight the analysis of trend in the development of and restructuring of international trade, and also the opportunities and prospects of the environmental sustainability of Chinese international trade, which was also developed and improved. Concerning the practical significance, really this research has high level of practical significance, and it is the recommendations were confirmed by the certificate of West Ukrainian National University that these results were implemented in educational process. Also, considering this research, we should highlight that there are high level and of presentation in the frames of these topics. There were 11 scientific publications. Particularly, one paper was published in databases Scopus and Web of Science. 3 papers were published in scientific editions of Ukraine, and 7 publications were in other publications. In general, the profile of publication corresponds to the specialty international economic relations, and the volume and character of these papers is corresponds to the national law of Ukraine for the defense of PhD thesis. Concerning the plagiarism checking, the texts of these theses were verified for plagiarism using UniCheck online service, and it has the high level of independence, and it could be recommended for the defense. But of course, as all research, all scientific research, we could mark some discussion points and comments for this qualification thesis. And there are 4 discussion points which I would like to consider. The first one, researching the phenomena of decoupling and the impact of the use and consumption of natural resources on international trade. It would be worthwhile to consider in more detail the regulatory and institutional aspect of regulations at the global, regional, and national level. And also my second comment, it is analyzing the environmental sustainability in international trade. It would be expedient to focus more attention on the analysis of international trade and deepen the obtained key aspect more systematically. And my third comment, the paper evaluates the impact of fragmentation on economic convergence, carries out a correlation analysis of trade openness and the probability of conflict, and evaluates the impact of technological improvement on the reducing CO2 emission and their coverage. But it would be worthwhile to strengthen the author's independent calculation by analyzing the primary data. And my last comment, the thesis analyzed closed and linear economic system and substantiate the advantages of the material balance model of economically open circular subsystem. However, these conclusions would be more applied and reasoned if it is characterized by the concept of ecological sustainability of Ukraine in the system of international economic relations. Of course, all these comments and discussion points, they doesn't affect the overall high rating of the dissertation, and it will they will contribute to a better reflection of its scientific and practical significance. And in general, we could make the following conclusion. The qualification thesis of Wei Línhaya, Environmental Sustainability of PRC International Trade, is an independent, complete, reasoned, and relevant research. The theoretical and practical results obtained are characterized by scientific novelty and well-grounded and they contribute to solving the problem of environmental sustainability of international trade.
Шановні колеги, у нас відбулося відключення електроенергії. Ми змушені були перервати засідання. В зв'язку з тим, що світло з'явилося, ми продовжуємо наше засідання. З того моменту, відколи не стало світла. Я це продублюю англійською. We had problems with the electricity. We had to stop streaming. Now we continue from where we stopped. Please, Professor Lishchinsky, in conclusion.
Thank you, Professor Suchacka. Dear colleagues, our technical break was interrupted my presentation at the stage of presenting the general conclusions. So I will deliver them again. So in general, we could summarize that qualification thesis of Wei Línhaya, environmental sustainability of China's international trade, is an independent, complete, reasoned, and relevant research. The theoretical and practical results obtained are characterized by scientific novelty, are well-grounded, and contribute to solving the problem of environmental sustainability of international trade. The dissertation meets the requirements on the approval of the procedure for awarding the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and the cancellation of the decision of one-time specialized academic council of a higher educational institution, research institution, on awarding the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Approved by the resolution of the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine dated January 12, 2022, number 44, and its author, Wei Línhaya, deserves to be awarded the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the field of knowledge 29, international relations, in specialty 292, international economic relations. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Leszczyński. I ask the applicant to answer to the reviewer's remarks, please.
Thank you, Professor Leszczyński, for your comments. Using a correlation analysis of trade openness and the probability of conflicts, it was estimating the impact of technological improvements on the reduction of CO2 emissions. We find that all geographic creations and of the world reduction, world source decoupling in impact export growth in 2023, but it was less dynamic in the EU and the US and more dynamic in Asia, especially PRC. We also established that the decision making policy according to the cost-defined analysis model, which is used to allocate resources due to its social efficiency and needs to be taxed to the benefits and the costs necessary for environmental protection. This can serve as a basis for providing only these investment projects where the total current cost of ecological benefits, ecological cost, and the net cost of environmental changes is positive. We agree with all other comments. We will take all your comments into account in our future research. Thank you.
Is the reviewer satisfied with the applicant's
Yes, completely.
Igor Orestovich, it is possible to include it in that decision of one-time specialist academic council only shows remark with which an applicant agree.
Okay, I don't mind.
Yes. The floor is now given to the review Associate Professor of Economics, Economic Theory Department of West Ukrainian National University, candidate of Economic Science, Associate Professor Anastasia Verkovsky, please.
Thank you, Lena Mykolaivna, for this flow. The full version of my review you can watch on the website of West Ukrainian National University on the topic Environmental Sustainability of PRC International Trade of Wei Línhaya as an applicant. So I want to know only the key points of my review. So they are: The qualification thesis of Wei Línhaya is relevant and it addresses environmental sustainability in a context of PRC international trade, aiming to balance economic growth with environmentally sustainable practices. A review of Wei Línhaya dissertation content indicates that the conclusions and generalization presented in the qualification thesis possess a sufficient level of scientific novelty. The justification of the scientific provision, conclusions, and recommendation obtained by the author is based on the use of modern scientific theories, concepts, and methodologies of leading domestic and foreign scientific schools. The qualification thesis of Wei Línhaya contains scientific knowledge of the obtained results. The theoretical basis of the qualification thesis consists in uncovering the theoretical and methodological principles of environmental sustainability in China international trade and outlining the pathway for developing international trade oriented toward ecological principles. The main provisions of the qualification thesis, which have scientific novelty, are comprehensively and argumentatively disclosed in 11 published papers. Based on the main results of the dissertation, one paper was published in journal included into International Psychometric Database, Scopus, and Web of Science. 3 papers were published in Scientific Edition of Ukraine, and 7 publications were published in other approbation journals based on conference materials. The content of the qualification thesis corresponds to the defined purpose and objectives of the research, reveal the topic of the thesis, and attest in a coherence and completeness. The dissertation is written in English, adhering to all the requirements of the scientific style. The review of the content of Wei Línhaya qualification thesis provides grounds to assert that the author adheres to the principles and norms of academic integrity. Furthermore, the qualification thesis is successfully verified for the text borrowing using the Internet service UniCheck. So we should point some discussion points and comments on the qualification thesis of Wei Línhaya, Environmental Sustainability of PRC International Trade. Wei Línhaya qualification thesis formulates and substantiates several scientific provisions and conclusions, some of which have a debatable nature. Namely, the research should substantiate if the analysis of environmental sustainability in international trade include a correlation regression analysis of government expenditure index and environmental performance index. The proposed way of developing the environmental sustainability of PRC international trade should have included suggestions regarding green trade and green investment in PRC. It would be worthwhile to specify the environmental risks associated with the implementation of environmentally responsible practices by transnational companies. Environmental consequences of insufficient consumption transform waste disposal methods, making it appropriate to characterize business initiatives for waste management and direction for applying environmentally responsible practices in PRC. Nevertheless, these comments and debatable provisions do not affect the overall high evaluation of Wei Línhaya qualification thesis and can serve as the basis for scientific discussion and continuation of the author research in the chosen direction. So we can make the general conclusion. Wei Línhaya qualification thesis on a topic environmental sustainability of PRC international trade is completed, independent, and logical structured scientific research that aligns with the specialty 292 international economic relations. The author has substantiated the purpose and objective of the research, the scientific novelty, and the practical significance of the obtained results. The dissertation provides a theoretical generalization and proposes a new solution to the scientific problem, along with practical recommendation for environmental sustainability strategy of PRC international trade. The research has formulated conclusions with both scientific theoretical and practical orientation. The qualification thesis meets the requirements on the approval of the procedure for awarding the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and cancellation of the decision of one-time specialized academic council of a higher education institution, research institution on awarding the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, approved by the resolution of the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine dated January 12, 2022, number 44. and its author, Wei Línhaya, deserves to be awarded the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the field Knowledge 29 International Relations in Specialty 292 International Economic Relations. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Anastasia, for your detailed review. I ask the applicant to answer to the reviewer's remark, please.
Thank you, Associate Professor Wei Línhaya, for your comments. Establishing a robust mechanism for environmental protection and ecological restoration entails enhancing supervision and management of resource extraction activities and ensuring effective cultural and management of environmental risks associated with such activities. It is essential to encourage resource mining companies and local governments to prioritize their social responsibilities. This will contribute to enhancing the living standards and overall well-being of residents. China's successful transition into a prominent global economic and political player needs the decuption of credible and inevitable sustainable development practices by its multinational corporations. The consequences of failure extend beyond more of financial losses for individual businesses, encompassing the protection of wide China and the overall growth of trade and investment. Notably, several well-known instances in the past 5 years spanning industries such as mining, in neurals and summer products have highlighted the influence of perception and driver politics on Chinese outward investment. We agree with all other comments. We will take all your comments into account in our future research. Thank you.
It is reviewer satisfied with the applicant answer?
Yes, I'm fully satisfied. Thank you.
Anastasia Andreevna, is it possible to include in the decision of the one-time specialist academic council only short remark with which the applicant agreed?
Yes, it's possible.
Yes. If you have no questions, let's move to next part of our defense, the opponent's report. The floor is given to the official opponent, head of World Economy and International Economic Relations Department of Odessa Mechnikov National University, Doctor of Economic Science, Professor Sergei Yakubovsky. Thank you for agreeing to be an opponent and visit me. Please.
Dear colleagues, first of all, I would like to thanks to the authority of the West Ukrainian National University that you have invited me to be the part of this council. It's a real honor for me to be here. It's not the first time that I'm an opponent in this hall, but it's the first time when a foreign scholar is defending his PhD dissertation. It's the first time when defense is fully conducted in English. And it's the first time for me, not for this university, when a lot of foreign scholars are listening in this hall for this defense. And that means that, first of all, the topic of dissertation is very important, and also it shows a high level of internationalization of scientific research at the West Ukrainian National University. The topic of research is very important. Why? Because the research of the economy of China is not only important from scientific point of view, but also from the practical point of view for Ukraine. You know, during all years of independence, we got a lot of advices from the International Monetary Fund, from the United States, from the European Union, what we should do in our economy. But maybe we can also use not only advices of these well-developed countries, but the experience of China, because 40 years ago, I think that we were maybe on the same level of economic development, or maybe even Ukraine produced more competitive products 40 years ago. But now China is one of the leaders of the world economy, and Ukraine is still in the period of transition. So I think that such kind of research that show the competitive advantages of Chinese economies, very important, not only from scientific point of view, but from practical point of view for Ukraine. So why this topic is so important? Because the development of international trade and environmental sustainability are two important aspects of social survival and economic development, which are closely connected. These features highlight the importance of justifying the theoretical foundations of international trade and forming prospects for environmental sustainability in the context of developing and applied model for implementing and environmentally sustainable trade strategy for China. If you don't mind, I will not read all review because it's available from the website of the university, but I will express my point of view about the most significant advantages of this research. The qualification thesis submitted for defense contains scientific provisions reflected in the materials of applied research of the West Ukrainian National University, in particular, fundamental state budget funding research as national concept of eco-security of society and inclusion of the circular economy and the conditions of the pandemic. The qualification thesis contains clearly defined goals and objectives, substantive methodological approaches to achieving them, a logically constructed structure, generalization of a theoretical nature, as well as proposals for improving the theoretical, methodological, and organizational foundation of environmental sustainability in international trade. The qualification thesis is written in English, contains annotations in Ukrainian and English, and introduction, 3 chapters, conclusions, list of references, and annexes. The first chapter of the qualification thesis, theoretical and methodological basis of the research, environmental sustainability of international trade, covers the genesis of international trade theories, establishes the concept of environmental sustainability in the system of international economic relations, and examines the decoupling and the impact of natural resource utilization and consumption on international trade. The second chapter of the qualification thesis research of environmental sustainability of international trade is devoted to the analysis of trends in international trade development and reshaping, evaluation and the status and role of natural resources in international trade, and analysis of the environmental sustainability in international trade. In the third chapter of the qualification thesis, the impacts of natural resource utilization and consumption on international trade is forecasted, and the ways of developing the environmental sustainability of the People's Republic of China international trade are proposed, and the model of environmentally sustainable trade strategy for China is developed. This research has a lot of advantages, but as to every research, there are some questions, some concerns, and some remarks concerning this, the results of this dissertation. And so let me share with you with these remarks. First, the thesis demonstrates that trade significantly contributes to global economic convergence and poverty reduction. However, it does not specify the role of environmental sustainability in this progression. Second remark, the author examined the volume of bilateral trade between China and Ukraine and its impact on Ukraine's economic development index. However, this analysis did not find practical application in the model of China's environmentally sustainable trade strategy. Third remark, while researching the impact of the use and consumption of natural resources on international trade, they also noted the balance between economic progress and environmental preservation. However, the study insufficiently addresses the process of balancing international trade development and environmental protection. The author also noted the Chinese government promotes the development of environmentally friendly industries by offering political incentives, financial assistance, and implementing a green trade certification system to motivate enterprises to adopt environmentally friendly practices and improve the environmental standards of their products. However, it is worth describing in more detail the ways of government stimulation of business in the use of more environmentally sustainable practices. And the last concern, the research established that China's sustainability trade strategy aligns with principles such as prioritizing people's well-being, fostering innovation, promoting balances and sustainable development, and achieving social harmony. However, it does not adequately address the main challenges China will face in achieving environmental sustainability in international trade. But I like to stress that the mentioned remarks and discussion points indicate some controversial aspects, only some controversial aspects of the research. However, overall, they highlight the relevance, complexity, and multifaceted nature of the chosen topic, its practically significance and its practical significance. These remarks do not significantly affect the qualitative characteristics of the qualification thesis. That's why my general conclusion is that the qualification thesis on the topic environmental sustainability of Chinese international trade is a comprehensive scientific study that results in a scientific justification of the theoretical foundation of international trade and the formation of prospects for its environmental sustainability in the context of developing and applied model for implementing Chinese environmentally sustainable trade strategy. Overall, the qualification thesis meets the requirements of the resolution of the Cabinet of Minister of Trade, date January 12, 2022, on the approval of the procedure for awarding the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in terms of content, substantification, scientific provisions, and recommendation, and level of scientific novelty. The author of this dissertation deserves to be, that's why the author of the dissertation deserves to be awarded the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the specialty 192 International Economic Relations.
Thank you, Professor Jakubowski, for your detailed analysis of this dissertation. Please, I ask the applicant to answer to the remark of the official opponent.
Thank you, Professor Jakubowski, for your comments. We examined the ways to foster sustainable growth in international trade, while maintaining a balance between economic progress and environmental preservation. Attention is focused on the importance of special use of natural resources for commercial purposes and the need to avoid exploitation and consumption of resources. Is emphasizes as this can use significant damage to the environment, affecting sustainability and stability of mensured activities, investigating the sustainable development and the use of resources. With of ecology, the sustainable growth of international trade through balancing economic progress with environmental preservation are proposed. A sustainable trade strategy for China is in line with several key policy priorities outlined by the Chinese government. The party emphasizes the importance of developing a scientific concept of development to guide future growth. It stresses principles of prioritizing the well-being of the people, fostering in innovation, promoting balance and sustainable development, and achieving social harmony among others. Additionally, Chinese government must accept environmentally sustainable trade and international investment as integral to national development. To tackle the increasing number of trade promoters and conflicts involving China. It's essential for the government to encourage regulate bilateral dialogue. We agree with all other comments. We will take all your comments into account in our future research. Thank you.
Thank you. It is official of opponents satisfied with the applicant answer?
Yes, I am fully satisfied.
Сергій Олексійович, it is possible to include it in the decision of the one-time specialist academic council only shows remark with which in applicant agreement?
Yes, I agree with this proposition.
Yes. The floor is given to the official opponent, Professor of International Trade and Marketing Department of Kyiv National Economic University, named after Vadim Getman, Doctor of Economic Science, Olga Yefan. We welcome to you, Vonu, and thank you for agreement to take part in the meeting of our specialized academic time.
Thank you, dear colleague. It's big honor for me to be opponent of this thesis, and thank you for this opportunity. And this is my first visit to your university, but I know about your qualification and about your professionalism, and it's really thank you, and it's honor for me. And let me say following. My full review of this thesis is available on the university website. And I will say briefly and only the main points of this review. And I will read out the comments and discussion points and the general conclusion in full. To begin with, I should like to tell you about the relevance of the topic and the qualification thesis. The development of the global trade and environmental preservation are two crucial aspects of social welfare and economic growth that are closely interrelated. The rapid growth of China's trade activity as one of the largest market players in the global business environment can contribute to progress in environmental protection. Given the above, it can be concluded that Wei Línhai's qualification thesis, which aims to scientifically substantiation the theoretical foundation of ecological sustainability in international trade in the context of development and applied model for implementation and eco-sustainable trade strategy for China is both relevant and timely. Secondly, I want to talk about the degree of justification of the scientific provision, conclusion, and recommendation formulated in the qualification thesis. The qualification thesis is logically structured with a clearly defined objectives and tasks and methodologically justified approach to their implementation. All conclusions and recommendations of the research concerning the development of ecological sustainability in China's international trade are properly substantiated and have practical relevance. Thirdly, I would like to talk about structure and volume of the qualification thesis. The qualification thesis is written in formal English and includes abstract in English and Ukrainian and introduction, 3 chapters, theoretical, empirical, and proposal sections, conclusions, bibliography, and appendix. Fourthly, I would like to mention the high level of scientific novelty of the research and the results of this dissertation. Firstly, I would like to mention the significance of the research results for science and practice. The theoretical and practical significance of the qualification thesis lies in addressing the scientific problem and developing proposal to improve the environmental sustainability of PRC's international trade. Sixthly, I want to talk about the completeness of the presentation of scientific provision, conclusion, and recommendations formulated in the dissertation in published papers relevant to dissertation topic. The key scientific propositions of qualification thesis, which have scientific novelty, are comprehensively and substantively presented in the published papers. Seventhly, I would like to say that there are no violations of academic integrity in this thesis. Now I would like to mention all discussion points and remarks on this dissertation. Wei Línhai's qualification thesis has been conducted at a sufficiently high scientific level. However, there are some comments of discussive nature. First remark. The thesis demonstrated that the structure of China's international trade has undergone significant transformation, particularly due to the phenomenon on international production fragmentation, which entails specialization at various stages of production across many countries. However, the author has not sufficiently addressed the environmental sustainability of China-Ukraine trade. Second remark. The thesis argue that trade plays a vital role in addressing the climate crisis and environmental issues. However, this hypothesis is inadequately sustained in the context of its contribution to greenhouse gas emission and environmental pollution. Said. The thesis notes that China's government has recognized environmental sustainability in trade and international investments as integral to national development. However, it would be beneficial to provide a more detailed characterization of the institutional framework for environmental sustainability in Chinese international trade. Pause. The thesis argue that implementing effectively resource management and protection strategies such as promotion circular economy practice and enhancing environmental oversight is crucial for achieving sustainable development. However, the thesis lacks detail on how the government can incentivize business and consumers to adopt more environmentally sustainable practice. And last, the thesis would benefit from more attention to the development of China-Ukraine trade relations in post-war period in the context of resource diplomacy and trade policy for an environmentally sustainable trade strategy for PRC. These comments highlight some discursive aspects of the qualification thesis. However, the generally reflects the relevance, complexity, multi-phase nature, practical significance of chosen topic, and don't impact on the quality of dissertation. And finally, I would like to read out the general conclusion and evaluation of the qualification thesis. Wei Línhai's qualification thesis on the topic environmental sustainability of PRC international trade is a completed scientific research that resulted in formulation on scientifically sustained proposal for the development of the theory, methodology, and practical implementation of ecological sustainability in China's international trade. In terms of content and professional oriented, the qualification thesis meets the specialty 292 international economic relations, for the field of knowledge 92 international relations. And in terms of quality and the level of theoretical and practical developments, it corresponds to the level of PhD degree dissertation. Overall, the qualification thesis environmental sustainability of PRC international trade meets the requirements of the resolution of the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine, dated January 12, 2022, number 44, on the approval of the procedure for awarding the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and the cancellation of the decision of a one-time specialized academic council of a higher education institution, research institution, on awarding the degree Doctor of Philosophy. In terms of content, substantiation of scientific provisions and recommendations and level of scientific novelty. The author, Wei Línhaya, deserves to be awarded the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the specialty 292 International Economic Relations.
Thank you, Professor Yasha, for your systematic approach to the analysis of the dissertation. I ask the applicant to answer to the remark of the official opponent.
Thank you, Professor Yasenko, for your comments. Trade has been playing a vital role in addressing the climate crisis and environmental challenges. The price is potential to contribute to greenhouse gas emissions and environmental pollution. We emphasized that the implementation of sound environmental policies is key to mitigating the negative impact of trade on the environment and promoting sustainable trade practice. China has developed comprehensive green strategies to implement the world's largest emissions trading system. The main growth of this market is to greenlight and reduce greenhouse gas emissions and promote environmentally sound, low carbon in development. We developed a model of an environmentally sustainable trade strategy for the People's Republic of China, which is based on environmental, policy, political, and social factors influencing trade, conditions for resource conservation, area of resource, deployment, and trade policy. Countries process for ecological structuring of the economy and with international cooperation of the People's Republic of China, especially with Ukraine, covers the vectors of promoting technical innovation and the conditions for the use of economic incentives for environmental sustainability. We agree with all other comments. We will take all your comments into account in our future research. Thank you.
This is official opponent. Satisfied with the applicant answer? Olga Mykolaївна, it is possible to include it in the decision of the one-time special academic council only, so remarkably switch is applicable.
Yes, I agree.
Sit down, please. In accordance with the regulation, we proceed to discuss the discussion of the council to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, in which only member on the Special Academic Council and entitled to participate. Who will start the discussion process? Please raise your hand. Please, Professor Yatsenko.
Yeah, thank you. I want to take part in this discussion and speak as well. I think this topic is really very interesting and timely. And when Lіньхай made great work. This reviewed work is relevant, timely, and worthy of attention. The degree candidate has theoretical knowledge, methodological tools, and empirical evidence. Wei Línьhaya has accurate the necessary competencies in the specialty and has program results in accordance with the requirements for degree of Doctor of Philosophy in specialty 292 International Economic Relations. Scientific provisions, conclusions, and recommendations have been published in the scientific journals and tested at numerous scientific conferences. The scientific provisions, conclusions, and recommendations formulated in the dissertation are well-founded. The dissertation used a variety of general scientific and special research methods. The scientific work has logical and traditional architectonics. The scientific novelty of the provision and results of the thesis is novelty. And I want say, especially, for example, using correlation analysis of trade opens and likelihood of conflicts, the author evaluated the impact of the technological advancements on co-emission reduction. And through the regression analysis, the author has calculated ecological sustainability indicators for China's international trade. And what I say now other to support theoretical position, the author has proposed scientific approach to assessing ecological impacts on trade policy, including product share and market share in total export, competitive advantages index, export diversification, and export specialization. And I like the concept of decoupling. Maybe it will be good if you say some words about resilience economy, but it's the same as sustainable development. That's why it maybe for discussion for next thesis. And there are, it's very important, there are no violations of academic integrity in this thesis. And the last, I will support the author of the dissertation and vote for awarding Wei Línhaya the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the specialty 292 International Economic Relations.
Thank you. Professor Ryshinsky.
Thank you, Professor Sochacka. I would like to continue our discussion. As colleagues noted, the research theses of Vei Línhaya, they are well structured and they are devoted to very important aspects of trade sustainability. All we, during our previous defenses, we got used to talk a lot about trade efficiency, but now we understand, and the global community understand, that not only trade efficiency is important, we should talk about trade sustainability. We should talk about the resilience of economics, as Olga previously mentioned. That is why this research topic of our applicant is of high relevance, and it was completed in rather high quality. So it proposed the new theoretical summarizing. It has good analytical tools, and what I like more, it is very complicated, very sophisticated model for recommendation how to apply those theoretical and analytical findings which he have done in his research in empirical way in concerning political recommendations. So I would like to highlight again a very complicated model of sustainability of international trade and practical recommendation which we could apply for our Ukrainian policy and also for national policy of China. That is why, considering this moment, I would vote myself, I would support the PhD thesis of Wei Línhaya in his process of defense, and I would like to comment that it corresponds to all requirements which are provided for our for the obtaining the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. That is why I will support Wei Línhaya attempts to be awarded the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the field of knowledge, international relations, and in specialty 292, international economic relations. Thank you.
Thank you for you, Professor Сергій.
Так, хотів сказати дякую. Thank you, dear colleagues. First of all, I would like to say that I am fully satisfied by the procedure of the defense of dissertation. We see how transparent was this defense, how complicated was questions to the applicant, and applicant was very well prepared, so he knows very well his dissertation. He's ready to defend the results of his research. So we see today that applicant is a real scientist, and so he deserved to become a doctor of philosophy, international economic relations. So I would like to stress two, from my point of view, main points of his results. First of all, a model of an environmentally sustainable trade strategy for China has been developed for the first time. So when we say the first time, it means that it's first in the science, and that's why when dissertation has such a point, so it means that it's really something new in the science. Also, the concept of environmental sustainability in the system of international economic relations has been improved, really improved, through the analysis of a closed and linear economic system. So a good comprehensive methods of economic analysis were used in this dissertation. Also, what is very important, that there are no violation of academic integrity in the thesis. And so the general conclusion, applicant can be awarded the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the specialty International Economic Relations.
Thank you very much. Associate Professor Anastasia Verkovska, please.
I also want to add that the topic environmental sustainability of PRC international trade is really the theme that we should point out, the main position that we found in this dissertation. Also, I want to say that the main key factors contributing to changes in environmental sustainability include the implementation of stringent environmental regulation, promotion of environmental sustainable practices, investment in green technologies, and ensuring transparency and accountability throughout the supply chain. It means that there were some points that I want to add that maybe will add more information about green trade, green investment, but it's not so debatable, and it's don't affect the main conclusion that we should make. So the practical significance of Wei Línhaya qualification as a dissertation is the main theoretical provisions of the study, some key direction for the development of environmental stability. He wrote a lot of papers. He also took part in conferences. He has conference materials, and I think that all of us should say that Wei Línhaya deserves to be awarded the degree Doctor of Philosophy in the field knowledge and international relations in specialty 292 international economic relations. And I want to thank you, all of you, especially Olena Mykolaievna Sokhatska. That is really hard work, and thank you for this defense.
Thank you, Anastasia. I also want to join the discussion of Wei Línhaya's dissertation. The environmental sensitivity of China international trade is an acute, urgent problem of the world trade as a whole. Familiarization with the dissertation, reviews of reviewer, and feedback from opponent, assessment, the event, speech, and answer to the questions give to me opportunity to vote positively in favor of awarding Wei Línhaya with the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the specialty 192 International Economic Relations. I urge my colleague to vote. So we can finalize the discussion full solution. It take is a basis. The floor is now given to the applicant of Doctor of Philosophy degree, Wei Línhaya, for his closing. Okay, thank you.
First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the sector Professor Oksana Dasinuk for the opportunity to defend my dissertation at West Ukrainian National University. I would like to thank my scientific supervised Professor Roman Зварич for all his help, guidance, and support. Head of the one-time specially academic council, Professor Alina Sohazga, for her support and constructive advice. To my opponents, Professor Sergei Yakubovska and Professor Olha Yasenko for their helpful comments and recommendations. To the reviews, Professor Ihor Lisinski and Associate Professor Anastasia Wiakoska for their detailed analysis of the dissertation and constructive criticism. Here of the Professor Seminar Associate Professor Oksana Mihar for her support and assistance. Manager of specialized academic councils for the defense of dissertations, Olha Kosinska for assistance in preparing or necessary documentation. Finally, my special thanks goes to my family for their faith in me, support and love. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for you. Шановні колеги, завершуємо наше засідання державною мовою, оскільки ми присуджуємо цей ступінь в Україні. Відповідно до пункту 28 Постанови Кабінету міністрів від 12 січня 2022 року номер 44 та затвердженого нею порядку присудження ступеня доктора філософії та скасування рішення разової спеціалізованої вченої ради закладу вищої освіти, наукової установи про присудження ступеня доктора філософії, кожен член разової ради відкрито висловлює свою позицію за присвоєння або за відмову у присвоєнні ступеня доктора філософії. Прошу проголосувати шляхом підняття руки щодо присудження здобувачеві Вей Ліньхаю ступеня доктора філософії. Прошу голосувати. Хто за? Хто проти? Утримались? Рішення прийнято одноголосно. Шановні колеги, ставлю на голосування питання про затвердження рішення спеціалізованої вченої ради ДФ 58082059. Прошу проголосувати. Хто за? Хто проти? Утримались? Немає. Рішення спеціалізованої вченої ради прийнято одноголосно. Дякую всім за плідну роботу. Шановні колеги, таким чином, на підставі результатів голосування та прийнятого рішення, спеціалізована вчена рада присуджує Вей Ліньхаю ступінь доктора філософії зі спеціальності 292 міжнародні економічні відносини. Вітаємо вас! Засідання Ради оголошується закритим. Дякую ще раз, шановні колеги.